This is MFN News for You.
Highlighting a story from theweek.in/news. A gene therapy breakthrough enables a deaf boy to hear for the first time. In a remarkable breakthrough, an 11-year-old boy has regained his ability to hear after receiving pioneering gene therapy. Asaim Dam, from Morocco, who was born with congenital deafness, became the first person in the United States to undergo this revolutionary treatment. On October 4th, 2023, Dam underwent a groundbreaking surgical procedure at the renowned Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. The operation involved partially lifting his eardrum and introducing a modified virus, specifically engineered to transport functional copies of the otter-furlan gene, into the fluid of his cochlea. This innovative approach kick-started the production of the missing protein in his hair cells, ultimately restoring their proper function. Highlighting a story from TheGuardian.com, Ethiopia is hailing the return of its first plane, stolen by Mussolini in the 1930s. Almost 9 decades after it was stolen by Benito Mussolini's fascist regime, the Italian government has officially returned Ethiopia's first plane. The official handover of the aircraft, built in 1935 during the reign of Selassie. The aircraft was a collaborative effort between the German pilot Herr Ludwig Weber and Ethiopian engineers. By the time it was abandoned in Addis Ababa in May 1936 as Italian forces approached the Ethiopian capital, according to historians, the aircraft was requisitioned and taken to Italy after Mussolini occupied Ethiopia, known then as Abyssinia, in 1935. Highlighting a story from ArabNews.com, Norway, a top donor of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, or UNRWA, is urging countries that have cut funding to the agency to consider the consequences of their actions on the population of Gaza, its former minister told Reuters on Wednesday. The Nordic country on Sunday said it would maintain its funding to UNRWA following accusations that some agency staff took part in the October 7th attack by Hamas militants. Meanwhile, the U.S. is calling for fundamental changes at the UNRWA. U.S. Ambassador to the UN Linda Thomas-Greenfield welcomed the UN inquiry from the accusations against staff of the United Nations Relief of Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East, and a planned agency review. Earlier on Tuesday, the UN Security Council expressed concern about the dire and rapidly deteriorating humanitarian situation and urged all parties to work with UN Humanitarian and Reconstruction Coordinator for Gaza, Sigrid Kaag. Highlighting a story from BBC.com, Imran Khan, former Pakistan PM, and wife Bushra Bibi are jailed for corruption. Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi have been jailed for 14 years, the second sentence handed to Pakistan's former prime minister in 2 days. The couple were convicted of illegally profiting from state gifts just a week before a general election in which he is barred from standing. Khan, who was ousted as PM by his opponents in 2022, is already serving a 3-year jail term for corruption. He says that the numerous cases against him are politically motivated. Wednesday's court case revolved around accusations over state gifts that he and his wife received while in office, while Tuesday's case, for which he was sentenced 10 years, for leaking classified state documents. The court has also ordered the couple to pay a fine of about 1.5 billion rupees. Highlighting a story from NBCSanDiego.com, a student and a father have been arrested after explosives were found. Police received several reports last Friday saying that the suspected teen was showing concerning videos and making threatening statements against the school for Tuesday. That same day, the student, who was not named because he was underage, was arrested and taken to juvenile hall. Police took out a gun violence restraining order on the teen's home. On Tuesday morning, unregistered, unserialized firearms, manufacturing supplies to make ghost guns, both rifles and handguns, as well as a large number of explosives and rocket-propelled grenades were found at the home, police said. The father, 45-year-old Neil Anders, was arrested and booked into San Diego County Jail on several charges. Highlighting a story from APnews.com, a Colorado police chief is on leave, pending a criminal case after reported rapes during a party at his house. A southwestern Colorado police chief has been placed on a paid administrative leave after charges were filed against 3 men in a case of a 17-year-old girl who reported being raped by more than one person during a party at the chief's house. According to the court records, Wood was reportedly asleep during the party. The charges became widely known when a man stole nearly every copy of the Ouray County Plain Dealer from newspaper racks on January 18th. Day was published with a story about the case. The man, who is not related to anyone in law enforcement or the defendants, was cited for thefts. In social media posts, he said he was trying to protect the victim.
And that was MFN News for You. Is your Illinois driver's license suspended? Your driving privileges are important to your livelihood. You need your driver's license to drive to work, get the kids to school, or go shopping. Your driving privileges are crucial for your lifestyle. If your driver's license is suspended, call attorney Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050 to begin procedures to have your driver's license reinstated by the Illinois Secretary of State's office. That phone number for Mark Sheblow is 773-775-5050. Mark Sheblow is an attorney with over 29 years of experience. Call him today at 773-775-5050. Visit his website at sheblowlawoffice.com. That's SCIBLO lawoffice.com.
The views and opinions in the following show do not necessarily reflect that of this station or its ownership.
Welcome to 1590 WCGO. You're listening to a political talk show brought to you by the Multiformat Network. Find out more information about every single one of those entities that you heard about on multiformat.net. But without further ado, that's right, you're listening to a political talk show. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. I am here most days. And like me, most days being here, that would be the executive producer extraordinaire, Ben Demonium Boquest. Thank you, sir.
Hey there. Glorious hump day to everybody. It's a nice way to get started with your news day. If you're just rolling out of bed, like
end of the month, we already had one tick of the calendar with January coming up. We've got Groundhog Day just down the road. We've got what is this? This is also coming up for African American Heritage Month as well. Or what do they call it now? What is the official title?
It's always been Black History Month.
Yeah, Black History Month, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The shortest month of the year. Yeah, might as well.
It's true. But this year we get an extra one, right? We get all the way to 29. Extra day just for you, my gift to all of you.
We're leaping? Is that what it,
yep.
Is that what it means?
And you know, if it's a leap year, it's also an election year. That's it. That's right. They give us one extra day to contemplate the leaders, or as somebody who wrote a book once, you could almost call it a manifesto. He said every once in a while the proletariats get to, or the oppressed get to vote for their oppressors. To pick the oppressors every once in a while.
Wide range when you say someone wrote a manifesto.
Yeah, there's a lot of manifestos out there, right? That would be Marx. That would be Marx with the Communist Manifesto. That's it there. If you want to know something about a subject, and I'm sorry for not introducing you, Paul Political Campos. Thank you for being here. We just got right into the rant, right?
No, sometimes that's what you got to do. Sonar, you have to. So no, that's why I let it roll. I know we'd get to it eventually.
Yeah. Well, if you want to know something about a thing, you find the person that hates them, right?
Exactly.
They're going to be the one that made the most research about that person. So if you want to know the most about capitalism, go ahead and read the Communist Manifesto. There's lots of great books out there in the world, and I think you should read every single one of them. Do it. You're not going to, but do it. Do try.
Illinois, banning books is illegal.
You are not allowed to ban books.
Get out of my state with that.
Banning the banning of banning. That's it right there. But anyway, we appreciate you all for listening here. You could find the show at any time if you miss any of our musings or want more of any of our musings. Go ahead into your favorite podcasting platform and look up A Political Talk Show. That's the social medias that are out there too. Same thing. Look up A Political Talk Show. I think on the Twitters we are at @A_political show, where each episode is also posted every day as well. But there was a big news story on the old social media side from our own camp. Our own camp.
We're live on Tumblr now.
Yes,
Yeah.
Tumblr. I think Ben broke right into Tumblr with, what are we looking at right now? 17,000
It's the most
impressions already with this?
impressions and likes I've ever had on anything I've ever posted on the internet.
It's amazing.
And it comes from a r/news article where I was downvoted a bunch for having a let's say S post.
Oh, really?
I do that sometimes, just being, a little facetious.
You
in
like the
comments.
negative karma?
It's fun to just it's fun. It's fun to do bad things. The old quote as it goes.
You really gotta dress up your negative, anything you do negative, man. Just be like, say it like, oh, it's a post that is less than desirable.
Sure, yeah, no. It's for me. It's the internet. Commenting on the internet. It's what you're gonna get. And I may have broken some of the r/commenting unspoken rules, such as you're not supposed to it's Reddit. All these subsets of internet. It's a different community, and they have different ways of idiosyncrasies. Let's say.
Each
Unwritten
subreddit has
rules.
their own.
Unwritten rules for sure. And one of the things on Reddit, I remember back old Reddit, it was like if you posted a podcast or something, they'll boot you out of any comments. Like, there's no self-promotion. It's supposed to be more of an anonymous type of thing. That being said, I just did put our show Twitch stream in the comments section. So if anybody's cool enough to in the face of Reddit unspoken rules, be on this Twitch stream, give us a follow, please. We need to be affiliated here. So.
The multi-format rebels, or as I like to refer to them as MFRs, the MFers.
Ooh,
The
like
multi-format rebels that are out there breaking rules left and right. Now, what did you talk
links.
about? Now, what got so everybody so hot under the collar with everything?
Right. Okay. So it was. It all originated off of a post I saw on our news that was about printer ink cartridges. It was HP. The article was titled "HP bricks printers that use third-party ink due to ... hackers." So
Hackers.
and the obvious idea there, it's one of those things the CEO would come out and say, and don't swim 30 minutes after eating, you're gonna get a cramp. Kind of, we have the power to brick your computer, effectively make it not work no more.
Yeah, the CEOs come out and they say, look, our product works. You just have to stand on your left leg and jump around in circles four times.
And if you try to get a cheaper third-party product that is compatible with your machine, then no, we're going to potentially ruin your...
Basically forcing you to buy their ink cartridges, essentially.
And you wouldn't expect anything less from, it's like
capitalism, baby.
That's it, man.
Yeah, so in effect, my colorfully languaged the NSFW S post on that article led to me having a bunch of downvotes. It was about nearing.
What did you
100
say?
Downvotes. Well, we could put screenshots up. Check it out on our Twitter or our Tumblr. I'll do. Yeah, we'll do that at some point.
So you were just.
So it was basically I was calling
on.
out that thought process. The big business is gonna tell you. We're even going to prevent you from saving money.
It's wild though how
burning coupons.
How you can make a great point, but it's really with social media, especially on Twitter, what I've really or X, excuse me, and all the that's right, we're phasing it out. All the other Facebook. Anytime you got to read. You ever see people battle in the Facebook comments and stuff? I mean, people really get hung up, and I guess there's a point to be made about that. People really get hung up on language and words and what the word like. So Ben, you make a great point about trashing it, but just because people didn't like the way you said it, or a percentage of people didn't like the way you said it. like here comes the mob.
Yeah. Well, we have to have accuracy of words, especially on the internet. I mean, I see all the time where somebody's like, "Oh, well, you called me obtuse. It's actually pronounced obese, and that's really mean to call people fat." And they're like, no. Obtuse is a word, sir. Please look it up on the internet box that you're on.
Yeah, right.
But the reason we have the accuracy of words is because there's a phenomenon on the internet called Poe's law, where you cannot judge the tone of somebody's words. So, like, I can say, "Thank you very much, Paul," or I can say, "Thank you very much, Paul."
Right.
So I can say that. I
Caps.
can change those things. But all I can do as far as text-wise, I can either put something in that says, "and he said," exclamatory or indignantly or something, whatever. But the other way to do it is you have to have accuracy of words, and that's where things like /s, if it's sarcastic, comes in. That's where emojis in general have always been here for us. Or the ever famous LOL, right? I mean, that's why you put it in there, where I can say, "Oh, thanks, Paul, LOL," and now you know I'm being goofy about it instead of like, "Thank you, Paul. This is the best thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life."
Yeah, there's
like,
the extra, what you would call apostrophes.
And that just goes into punctuation.
Punctuation.
Now you turn in and you find out people don't really know the meaning of the words that they use. They just heard it on TV once and like, "That's a pretty nice word. I'm going to start using it."
Yeah.
And essentially go from there. So I think that we had talked about it before this of the vocabulary of America dropping. And that way, if you've got less words, those words that you do have to be used as different tools. How many times have you seen somebody use the word crazy 6 or 7 different ways? "Ah, that was crazy. Oh, I went to this crazy party. Oh, I was driving and the traffic was crazy." Like, or awesome, or what have you. So we're running out of words, and I think they really just didn't get the nuance that you had. You should have put the /s, Ben.
No, it was interesting. It was more so, I think, generally Paul hit on it earlier with the type of curse words that I used really don't fly in America.
Oh,
first of all, somewhat. It wasn't anything derogatory or super NSFW or directed at anybody. So,
okay.
But
we played it safe.
I'm just throwing my
even metaphors, right? Like you ever hear you ever been in a conversation where you try to make present a metaphor or some sort of hypothetical situation to make a point, and people get caught up on the metaphor, and then you start arguing about the metaphor.
It's like, horses don't drink water.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's like a dog playing basketball. It's like, that's ridiculous. Why would a dog be playing basketball?
Yeah.
Well, then you just started to get into this argument, and then you just completely derails the argument.
Totally, and it became one of those things. As soon as I started getting downvoted, people were replying back. I was a loser living in my parents' basement.
Whoa!
Probably a crappy place, and judging by, I guess they did their Oppo research by going to my Reddit, which I've previously just posted. I'll post Jesus, my bearded dragon, is a bearded dragon community is what I go there for a lot of stuff.
They're vicious, man.
Yeah, and they're just like, some loser. This loser's got a lizard. His lizard jerk, and maybe that pulled at some of Tumblr's heartstrings, and that's what it was screenshot and being shared around. So maybe we'll add Tumblr to our.
I'll go old school with it. I mean, we can make the MySpace page. That's where I first learned how to even make web pages. Putting all that together, but I'm glad.
GeoCities.
I'm glad you broke out the internet, man. I'm sorry that people attacked you. I know for a fact you don't live in your parents' basement. No. The ground floor, still sure,
yeah. Garden apartment.
Garden apartment, right there. That's it. But still there. You're listening to 5090 WCGO, a political talk show brought to you by the Multiformat Network. Go out there and find us. We're on the internets, obviously. And please, let's be a little bit nicer to Ben. Come on. Be a lot. He's not like that. Be a lot nicer to Ben, please. We'll be right back. Fiscally nicer.
Are you looking for a way to be creative right now? Have you ever wanted to learn to watercolor paint? You can now do that from the comfort of your own home with Zoom watercolor classes. Get professional instruction from nationally showing artist Victoria Elizabeth. These classes are step-by-step, broken down with easy-to-understand instructions. They're affordable too, at $15 for a 2-hour class. Visit her website at victoriaelizabethart.com to find out more. That's victoriaelizabethart.com.
Every year in Illinois, over 30,000 drivers are arrested for DUI. Due to improper testing procedures, many people end up being wrongfully charged. The book DUIs Decoded cuts right to the chase and tells you how proper DUIs arrests are supposed to be made, from the initial traffic stop to the reasoning behind the field sobriety test, all the myths and facts about taking a breathalyzer, and more. DUIs Decoded is written by nationally recognized DUI expert witness William Polarinos. Available now at Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If you have been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs in Cook County, DuPage County, or Lake County, Illinois, call the law office of Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050. That's 773-775-5050. Attorney Mark Sheblow has over 29 years of law experience handling DUI defense, traffic violations, CDL violations, and Secretary of State driver's license reinstatement hearings. All aspects of your case will be examined in order to find evidence that may help your case, especially the statutory summary suspension of your driving privileges. If your breath alcohol concentration level at the time of the DUI arrest is 0.08 or more, then the summary suspension of your driver's license begins 46 days after the arrest. Time is a crucial factor in challenging the summary suspension of your driver's license. Our law office is located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. And again, our office phone number is 773-775-5050. Welcome back to 1590 WCGO, a political talk show brought to you by the Multiformat Network. Go ahead and find any of those entities on the internet. You know how it works. Go up to the search. It's the little magnifying glass. You type them in. You start with a space political space talk show, or you know what, all one word. If you're lazy, you don't want to throw the biggest button on your keyboard any love, go ahead and just do fb.com/apoliticaltalkshow, all one word, and you'll go right there. You'll see us there. You'll see a lot of our posts, especially where we post the episode that you may be missing on your favorite podcasting platform. Find us there. Again, A Political Talk Show. Look us up. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. Across the glass from me, just to give you a little bit of tour, an audio tour. Close your eyes unless you're driving or flying something. Across the glass from me, the engineer extraordinaire, the executive producer that we all want having back us up. That would be Ben Demonium. Boquest, thank you, sir, for being here.
Absolutely. I'll tumble for you, man.
Hey, tumble it up.
Hated and loved commenter on r/ink printer.
Is Vine still around? Can we make Vines instead of TikToks?
Yeah, do a MySpace.
TikTok, just as a side note, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit deeper, but essentially TikTok has asked people to stop doing stuff in portrait.
Thank you,
Thank you, TikTok. Landscape is the way to go. We didn't spend 100 years of television sitting here to then turn around and look at a vertical, tiny little mashed up thing together. To continue our virtual tour, to my right around the table, right here in studio with me behind his own microphone with his own pair of headphones, that would be Paul Lytical Campos.
Yes, thanks. Always a pleasure to be here, guys. Thanks for having me on this beautiful day in Chicago. It is 36 degrees, but for people for not from this area who are listening, because we are global. We are, yes, we're on every continent. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm saying
at least 6.
Yeah. So yeah, it was, but no, but
it's just hard to get down that far south, Paul. That's all it is.
No, it's 36 degrees, which is uncommonly warm at this time of year. So it's just enjoying the weather,
balmy,
and then
balmy 36.
Yeah, so happy to be here. Thanks.
It is great. And let's talk a little bit about that. I haven't introduced any other news, so let's just go right into the TikTok one. We're still continuing the social media side, but TikTok has said, and you can take this directly from TikTok itself. You know how we like to report the actual news and where to get what we say. TikTok themselves has released essentially they are trying to get everyone to go horizontal. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you hold your phone up, you do your palm with your fingers with the top, with your fingers together, that's portrait. That's what you hold your phone in while you're scrumbling through TikTok or reading or whatever. Or they call it vertical is the other one. This would be hot dog, right? Sure. The other way to look at it. And then you've got hamburger or landscape or horizontal. Taco, as some people would
I always just use horizon.
Horizontal. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what your TV is. Nobody mounts their TV in portrait. You don't do that. So why are you making videos in portrait? I see where you are, TikTok. I see you, TikTok. Let's do this.
Yes, thank you, TikTok. Because honestly, I've never been drawn to TikTok because of that.
Exactly. I'm YouTube all day because of that.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're kind of recognizing that.
Because here's the thing with YouTube: even if it is horizontal instead of portrait, it goes horizontal at the top of your screen, and then you're able to read everything else at the bottom. Come on, people. And then if I want to look closer at you, I just turn my phone over and boom, it's full screen.
Yeah, maybe
it's crazy.
You could give this up to YouTube Shorts for starting that thing and then seeing they're not that popular.
Because YouTube Shorts essentially was a follow of TikTok at that point. And that's the way I like to do it. You read in portrait. That's what you do. You have a book page by page, to essentially portrait sides. Nobody continues the words across the break in the book. So you've got 2 portraits that are sitting there looking at you. I think as the shape of phones change, I think we're also going to see the shape of the media change as well. There's a lot more people that have those flip out guys. A lot more people use tablets, which tablets are not the traditional TV. 16 by 10? They're more of, even then, my tablet, I think, is the 1200.
How about no device and into the Neuralink and that type of Google.
That'd be
Google
a crazy
Glass.
thing. You're our resident Elon Musk follower there, Paul.
Yeah.
What do you think about this Neuralink that has now been put into people? There's 20 or 30 articles you can find out about that. There's it's an easily Googleable thing, and I don't think there's really much bias to it.
I think this falls into this category of just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I don't know. It just makes me nervous that I don't pursue it. I don't know. He brings up a lot of good points. People with medical problems, I mean, if for anyone who are Star Wars fans, you ever see like robotics? You ever see like people with amputations? They're sticking on like a robot arm. I can see that being in the future, like having an implant, and then you put you put on a prosthetic, and it actually has you have a functioning hand again.
Power glove.
So yeah, right.
Take it back to the power glove. You see a person who is driving like a crane. You look at those giant cranes, a person that's all the way up there in the top, the whole way up, is driving it all the way from that very top pilot cockpit or whatever. Could you imagine it driving from the person who's down at the bottom looking at it? Because I really think, I think the bridge for him, I don't think is our brains interacting with real world. I think his ultimate goal is digital acting on our brains. I think that's his real goal, his real bridge, and he has to go through our brains to the physical world bridge first. But I think his ultimate goal is the same kind of thing we've seen in movies and holograms and everything else, where they just pump the information directly to us. Then what do you call that? You can't call that portrait. You can't call it horizontal. You just call it beamed in, like just zapped matrix-wise. Would you have that, Paul? No. If the Neuralink said, okay, this is how it's going to be, but you now have to have all of the matrix plugs. I have to give you a big old matrix plug that just hangs out with you the whole time.
Jelly bath?
We got to come up with a segment like Paul's tinfoil hat segment, because there is something about this, about us being used as possible batteries in the future. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, metabolism, it generates heat, it generates motion. Like, okay.
I'm just saying, are they developing certain like beds and blankets that run off your body heat as power? I'm just saying, might be a little weird.
That would be so crazy.
But I know there's so many things, technological innovations that I think it's like, it's hard to argue, like cloning, right? Mm-hmm. Like to be about, can you imagine being able to, like, if you need a heart transplant or a lung transplant, now instead of wishing for a donor, they can just clone you an organ, like you can with your actual cells, and it's literally, because that's the number one problem with transplants is rejection from the host. So it's like it's kind of, I'm trying to think of like a metaphor for it, but it's definitely like a double-edged sword. Like there's definitely benefits, but it's like, like nuclear energy, like the benefits, infinite power, but that little problem of radiation and toxic waste, and it's interesting. I just I love his I wish he just focused on starships. It's like, and then,
pick a lane, right?
Yeah, and and now that he's got X, I guess follow up with that. But definitely, I love his passion for interstellar travel. It's something that just NASA is just not doing as much. I mean, as you see, what he's doing with I forgot the name of his rocket company, but SpaceX. That's what it is. Yeah, I mean, they're running space missions now for the International Space Station. So it's. It's
well, if the government has proved anything for us, they would much rather hire a contractor to do something than to actually do it themselves.
But as far as like Neuralink and this, it just seems like, do we need this? It's like, I just feel like maybe it's cool. It sounds cool, but I mean,
how long has the keyboard been around? Let's get something new, right? Yeah.
Remember Minority Report, like, or I think that was that movie where like you're literally walking around and advertisements are targeted for you. Like I think there was
a retinal scan
where he had to like swap out his eye. I mean, it seems dystopian, but I do feel like we are getting towards that with digital ID, wanting to get rid of physical currency.
Not even close to getting towards that yet, but that is a way that it could go. I mean, right now it's like application-wise being used more so as like, people who are paralyzed and can't control a cursor on a screen. And that's like where it's starting. And I understand that it's like, it calls for like, it's got to be a front for this and that. And to some degree, again, Elon Musk even came out and said something like, we're trying to achieve symbiosis with AI. Like, You can't just
No,
be
thank
saying,
you.
why are you saying that, dude?
Like, who asked for this? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can see.
That's why the people who go, oh, okay, we're in Minority Report then. And then meanwhile, he's like, DEI, Minority Report.
Yeah.
Weird.
I could see,
weird,
the application, like the amputation thing I was talking about. But then that's the one thing.
He spins these giant conspiracy bubbles out there, and he just watches it go, and that's how he tumbles. He's become the richest man in the world, and meanwhile he's just having fun and has all these wily opinions. It's we all get it. I get it at least.
There are no Nazis.
It's fun to. I guess be able to control the narrative that much.
Like, dude, you could be Batman.
Right.
Like, stop. You could be Batman.
Just be Batman.
Get out of here. $1 billion, I'd be Batman in a heartbeat.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to position himself as this just very benevolent billionaire who is.
Give you the money.
Yeah, that's right. And who doesn't, he's objective and down the middle, but he has his biases just like anyone else. And it's interesting. It's like he's always talking about this is something he's been talking about for a while now with Neuralink and AI and stuff. I do agree with his criticisms of AI. I think that's just we've talked about it on the show before, the potential dangers of where it can take us.
Well, I think a lot of the potential dangers of AI is the faking aspect of it. I think that's a big issue. But as far as like logistics and taking over jobs and things like that, that's inevitable.
Yeah.
Like that's literally the whole definition of technology is to make your life better, make this easier, make it more efficient, make it less polluted, et cetera, right?
Technology.
Which is the exact opposite of go out and get a job, go out and support a family, go out and feed the economy with taxes. So technology and even our own economy and our own society kind of go back and forth against each other. So there's a lot of things that are out there. But as far as AI, I think AI is going to be a great blessing for us proletariats. I think it's going to absolutely screw over the big guys. But when there are enough of us, when it goes to the point where AI takes over and there's 20%, 40% unemployment, yeah, you've got to change the system at that time. Heck, you've got to change the system at 10% unemployment. So that's where I think it's going to happen is, these guys will buy into AI. They'll find out that it's cheaper, but they will realize that a society needs the bottom to also be prosperous, for everyone to be prosperous. So I welcome it. That's where the real revolution is. Everybody's going to turn around, politics and whatever else. We're going to fight each other because I'm a red hat and you're a blue hat and he's a green hat and he's a whatever else. But I think the real revolution is going to happen through technology and the proletariat versus people like Elon Musk. I mean, if you look at the disparity that we have now, and I'm going to have to post the numbers for it, but at this point, we have more of a deficit from CEOs and their bottom than was in the French Revolution.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I can remember this book, but someone did an incredible study on this not too a while ago, basically talking about the dangers of the one danger of capitalism is income inequality is basically inevitable. It's just no matter what. It's just where you're asking for. Maybe you can name one benevolent billionaire, but he's the minority.
Those are the goals.
Yeah.
The goal is to make as much money as possible by not helping anyone else. Make it as fast, make as much, and go.
Franklin D. Roosevelt, the Great Deal, where we got all these great things like Social Security and stuff. People think like FDR was just doing this out of the kindness of his heart because he was a benevolent leader and he was trying. No, it was because the mob was getting ready to eat the rich.
Yep.
And he had to I think there was a quote attributed to him listen, if you don't give them some of your money, they're gonna come and take all of it.
Yep.
And it's just it's just inevitable. It's like when you starve people, it's like when you push people to the point of desperation.
And that's why we're waiting for this Biden economy to turn back around with us. I mean, for me, I think if they clean up the whole Middle East position that they're in, I think Biden gets 30 more points on every single poll that's out there.
It would turn it around, I think, for a lot of voters.
Yep.
Yeah.
And before you know it, Christmas will be around, and we'll be in a strong economy with that as well, where everybody will have enough money for Christmas, et cetera, et cetera. But 1590 WCGO, a political talk show. We're going to go to the other billionaire social media manager. That would be Zuckerberg. Coming up, a political talk show. We'll be right back.
Zuckerberg.
If you have been charged with driving under the influence, Cook County, DuPage County, or Lake County, Illinois, call the law office of Mark Sheblow at 773-775-5050. That's 773-775-5050. Attorney Mark Sheblow has over 29 years of law experience handling DUI defense, traffic violations, CDL violations, and Secretary of State driver's license reinstatement hearings. All aspects of your case will be examined in order to find evidence that may help your case, especially the statutory summary suspension of your driving privileges. If your breath alcohol concentration level at the time of the DUI arrest is 0.08 or more, then the summary suspension of your driver's license begins 46 days after the arrest. Time is a crucial factor in challenging the summary suspension of your driver's license. Our law office is located at 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. That's 5945 North Elston Avenue in Chicago. And again, our office phone number is 773-775-5050.
Why? Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love. So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see say for my family.
I see say for my friends.
I see say for my students.
We see say for each other.
I see say because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies this community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. A smile has a secret power that most people don't know about. A smile multiplies. It spreads from one person to the next, stretching across entire groups of people. Smile Train knows this and is proud to be creating a wave of smiles across the cleft lip and palate community in over 70 countries. Patients, doctors, advocates, fundraisers. Collectively, our smiles are a celebration of the transformed lives of over 1.5 million children. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
Welcome back to 1590 WCGO. You're listening to a political talk show along with that station right there, 1590 AM if you're on the digital side and you don't know what those numbers mean. WCGO is also FCC radio station. I know we got a lot of the younger crowd doesn't know necessarily what it is. They've got
the difference. What does it even mean?
What does it even mean? The letters and the numbers and
the dump button.
Exactly. It's too much. Maybe I said a wake up code or something for a sleeper agent that's there. That's what WCGO 1590 AM W240 EH95.9 FM.
You just activated my Neuralink.
Like that. Yeah. That's it there. So thank you for listening. A Political Talk Show right here. That other voice that you heard, other than mine, Dennis Green, would be Ben Demonium Boquest, the executive producer extraordinaire. And we've got the number one contributor of A Political Talk Show. That would be Paul Political Campos.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead and find both of those people on those things, Ben Demonium, and you've also got Paul Political, and you can find both of those guys on the X's.
That's both of our legal names.
Find
names
their find their treasures on the X.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me there, lurking in a X space, just listening, and the only way you can contribute in X space is to they have a series of emojis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really just so you'll just see me going mad with the emojis in Twitter. I haven't had the courage to. Stop, go up into the plant, or how they say, the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Go up to the stage and everyone talk, and like I said, it's rough in there. It's a piranha tank. You gotta be careful, man.
When you guys do the live stream emojis, are you like the rapid tapper, or are you like just the one?
It depends.
I like that.
I go back and forth. I tend to do it more so if it's positive, so I'll go a couple to in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something I'm really disagreeing with, I will here's something you'll appreciate real quick. So there was this guy jumped on. I don't know if he was trolling but I've listened to serial killer confessions that didn't make me this unnerved. Okay.
Whoa.
So basically, this guy was claimed to be a representative or someone who worked or was either, I shouldn't say representative. He just claimed to either have contributing stock in military companies. So the great industrial complex.
The military
industrial complex. So one of a defense contractor. So he was listing off Raytheon and just the gleeful way he was talking about stocks going up and we're expecting to do this. It was like a sales call, like a quarterly sales call on a X space, and I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, do you realize what you're talking about? More people means more death, and for someone to gleefully it's thousands, potentially thousands, and for someone to talk with just it was it was one of the most disgusting things. So that got my I think I almost broke my Twitter button for that. I was thumbs down, thumbs down emoji.
What about you, Ben? Do you watch any of that live streamy stuff that's out there in the world?
I find myself in one every now and again, but not really my forte to sit there and.
I like after the fact. You push pause and I can actually.
I go back and forth,
but I like the idea. I do.
No, and that's why I was meant to say this before. Every time you do a reset after the break, which is I listen to a lot of shows, a lot of podcasts, a lot of intros and stuff, and you guys' intro for the show is the best out there. I will put it out there. You'll see me sometimes when you come back from the break, bobbing my head and stuff. And come on, it's newsy. It's how can you not like that?
That's it. That's that guy right there.
That's why I'm looking at him.
It's a nod.
Yeah, looking at you, bro. So it's great stuff.
It's a little tongue in cheek to the status quo of the industry. We are a serious show, but we're just regular dudes.
We come from the American perspective, the citizen perspective, because there's so many out there. There's so many voices for the top. So many voices for the top. There are lobbyists for the top. There are mainstream media for the top. There are lawyers for the top. There are judges for the top. There are Congress people for the top. Who is speaking for the bottom? Us, right here. That's us. We don't need to get no money crazy with it or nothing. I don't have underwriters that tell me, say this, do these. We are here to give it to you as raw and as much from a we are all Americans perspective.
Yeah, you're just not going to get it on mainstream news. Okay, printed, television. You're not going to get it on Fox. You're not going to get it on MSNBC or CNN. You're not going to get it on.
Because we report the news, Paul. We report the news of the news
NPR.
Right here.
Speaking of things being reported, that reminded me right there of a story that I read on News for You, if you listened at the top, about a suspected school shooter stopped.
Wow.
Before the.
How did they stop it?
So here's an article from NBCSanDiego.com highlighting what happened over there. The article entitled "Student and Father Arrested, RPGs Found After Threat at Rancho Bernardo High School." Again, RPGs were found.
Rocket-propelled grenades.
Yes,
were found.
Highly explosive. Other devices, incendiary devices, were found. So here's the article again. NBCSanDiego.com. Check that out for the source. A high school student and his father were arrested after police served a search warrant in response to the teen threatening to shoot up Rancho Bernardo High School. Police received several reports last Friday saying the suspected teen was showing concerning videos and making threatening statements against the school for this last Tuesday. That same day, this last Tuesday, yesterday, the student, who was not named because he was underage, was arrested and taken to juvenile hall. So basically, the students came out and said stuff, and they found crazy arsenal in this. What the original article had gone to say that this is the man was a suspected prepper after having MREs in his garage, and then they went and actually retracted that after he'd served on some emergency crisis team responders. So, but again, to paint a picture of the household, the police took out a gun violence restraining order at a teen's home, escalated at the teen's home, located. I won't say where it's located. This last Tuesday morning, they found unregistered, unserialized firearms. Manufacturing supplies to make ghost guns, both rifles and handguns, as well as a large number of explosives and rocket-propelled grenades were found at the home, police said.
Wow. This brings us to a lot of what we're talking about today of social media being good and bad. This was able to be a red flag law and a red flag that came out. This is where the red flag and social media side comes into it.
Yeah, it's more so word of mouth. Like the commercial, see something, say something.
See something, say something, right? If somebody's going to keep posting RPGs and say hashtag first period, like...
I think, Ben, we've talked about this a while ago when we had that incel episode, where we just kind of touched on this, where it was... I wish, definitely social media has a huge part to play in because of bullying. We talked about this before we went on there. It's just, when we were growing up, God forbid if you were bullied, at least you had the refuge of home. At least you can go home and you can get away. Now with online, everyone's online, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop, and it's relentless, and it can be anonymous.
They can follow you.
Yeah, and...
and this is why Zuckerberg was... in front of I believe it was the Senate today, and you can find articles about Zuckerberg breaks from hearing and apologizes to families victimized by social media. But we've just shown an example of where social media can help because you're letting crazies exercise their First Amendment. Yes, more people should exercise their First Amendment. Right. I want to know more about you because then I will know who to stay away from.
Report it, yeah.
Say more things, crazy people. Yeah. Go out there. Post all you want to. I want you to be able to say whatever you want to.
Yeah, when people show you who they are, believe them.
Yep, so that way when I go and I hire you and I look up your social media, I know everything about you. Post more. Do more. Let us more information.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want you to be a closet crazy guy. I want you to be a flamboyant crazy guy. Let's go out and say it.
And no, I'm so glad you brought up about the benefit of that too, sorry, because it's not. It's just not. Let's say if you were to take away social media, where you couldn't do, it would not stop the violence. I feel, in my opinion, or people, because we're just a violent society. We glorify violence. I mean, look at, we're the most popular.
We sure do.
John Wick, Top Gun, right? America, like when we're bombing, just they don't ask questions like, oh, who are we bombing? No, it's because Tom Cruise said so. Of course, it's okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, TV, video games, Call of Duty. Duty. I mean, is like one of the most popular video games, that are out there. It's literally desensitized people to like, oh yeah, look how many kills I got. Yeah, oh, for you're competing with your friends, like for however number you throw out. So
well, if you want to read more about it, there Mark Zuckerberg apologized to families of the U.S. Senate hearing for the impact of social media on children, saying, "I'm sorry for everything you have all been through." The Guardian has a great article. If you're on the right side of the world, then try the Daily Caller. Obviously, the Washington Post will have something about it as well. But I would recommend probably Newsweek or The Hill to kind of just try to stay in the middle as much as you can with this, because just like you were talking about warmongering here, our least favorite warmongerer, Lindsey Graham, there's another article about it where cheers had erupted as Graham tells Zuckerberg, "You have blood on your hands." Again, if you want to read about that, the Daily Signal's got one. If you're over on the left side, Mediaite is another one that's in there. But again, I always recommend The Hill or Newsweek, I think is another good one, and they put one out. The other one that's great if you're looking for the middle is The Messenger, is another great one that's out there.
Guardian?
The Guardian is good, but the Guardian leans a little left. Just the same thing why I don't recommend AP. AP has a grade of just a little bit of a left-hand side of everything. So that's it. Hill, Newsweek, all of them are going to be as close to the middle as you can possibly have, and high factuality. Right. Now, I like the Guardian and I like AP because of the high factuality. But again, I want to try to stay middle for as many people as possible. But again, if you like the Daily Signal, owned by the Heritage Foundation, also graded with low factuality, then by all means read it. Lindsey Graham said something. If you want your flavor of bias added to it, then go ahead.
I think it's good to watch that stuff. I like to throw on some of the crazy
just to
crap.
keep that flavor. Every cook. My brother-in-law is a chef. And he hates mushrooms. But he says, as a cook, I need to know what a good, quote-unquote, tasting mushroom is.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same kind of thing we've got here. Read everything, post everything, get the information out. As the Mr. Universe says, you can't stop the signal. I've been watching a lot of Firefly. I'm sorry.
Oh, I love that
I'm sorry.
show.
I've been watching the Serenity,
movie,
Firefly,
too.
all that. Senator Lindsey Graham accused Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg of having blood on his hands for producing a product that is causing harm and killing people. Haven't seen anybody from the NRA marched up in front of Lindsey Graham for this, but it's beside the point. We're talking about Mark Zuckerberg right now.
Pot meat kettle. He finally found someone who's a better scapegoat than
Yeah.
It's like, look at this.
During a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, major tech CEOs, including Mark Zuckerberg, were criticized for their role in online child sexual exploitation. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg apologized to families who shared the stories of the harm caused by social media and pledged continued efforts to prevent others from experience such suffering. The other thing that I've got advice for everyone is unplug, turn off.
Yeah.
If it is too much for you, turn it off.
Yeah.
I'm not saying bury your head in the sand. I'm not saying cut off the rest of society from everything.
Or even forever.
But if you need a break, here's what's going to happen. Bullies cannot survive in vacuums. Trolls cannot survive in vacuums. They need people, to take it back to you, Ben, they need people to generate something so that they can complain about it and go. You unplug, you give them a timeout on everything from there, go to something that's not plugged in. Mm-hmm. Go to something that's not there. So
for me, it's just not surprising at all that that's the category of things that gets overlooked on such a giant platform. And when it really comes down, it just, again, it's the flexing liability and knowing what you can get away with legally.
And the moderators. There are not enough bodies in the world to
Much more
moderate
focus
everything.
on getting those that ad revenue and optimizing that part of the business to where this kind of stuff falls to the wayside, and it's a damn shame while the man's making Wagyu beef cattle ranch and
on his own
island, which he's trying to make Hawaii into. Not to crap talk too much to the elite, but I had to get my jabs in there.
Where's the voices? 15 seconds to you, Paul. Go.
Oh no, it's just
10 seconds,
10
Paul.
seconds. No, that's it. Oh, thanks for having me. It's been a great show.
What do you wish
today.
to say to Zuckerberg, who's watching? Zuckerberg.
Oh, just how about we lost. We lost count of all the marriages that were wrecked by Facebook. There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's what
marriages. It is
we're
bad.
going out dry too.
The joint accounts too, right? 1590 WCGO, a political talk show right here.
WCGO 1590 AM, W240EH 95.9 FM, Evanston, Chicago. WCGO 1590 AM, W240EH 95.9 FM, Evanston, Chicago.
Yeah, I guess.